To use this stuff, this is how to open it. Twist it clockwise. You remove this, remove the stone off like this, and then remove this as well like this. Now if you want to remove this, just carefully turn it clockwise as well and then pull up. That is how to remove this compartment from the grinder. Set this aside. You can always wash all of this in the water except for the engine. If the engine is dirty, just carefully set it aside for use. Now if you want to set the item again for next use, carefully bring this, always make this mouth come into the writing pad, twist it and turn properly. It would stay together. Always key it to your left hand side. Afterwards, you bring this, very important, do not turn it like this, it would crash. It should be like this slanted part. There's a slanted part at the side or at the edge of this white stuff. Make sure it is aligning with it like a puzzle, and you see it fitted into it together like this. Okay, the next thing you do is to bring the stone. The stone as well, it has a slanted edge here. Make sure that slanted edge is facing the slanted edge here, just as seen. And we have this put together. This is the key. Just put the key into it and then lock it. You would hear a lock key. This is what binds these stuffs together. And this is the cover. Just make sure you look at this arrow. It has to face this mouth. Carefully bring it here a bit closer and key it. Always the arrow showing has to face this downside down. The arrow has to be this way. This is how it should be. That is how to set it up. Now to use this stuff, number one, do not overfill it and go do something else. If you are using this engine, you have to stand with it. Make sure you stay with it till you finish doing whatever you are doing. And then number two, do not use it more than 30 minutes at most. If you have a lot to do, give it time intervals. Do not use it more than 30 minutes at most. So say for instance, whatever you want to do is much. Always time yourself. Break it down until you are able to do it to the quantity you desire. When you overuse it or when you fill it with so much, it will stop working until you give it some hours, if not the next day, before it would peak. It is called home meal, and it is not for commercial purposes or to do so much at a time. Just a little quantity of something. Like say for instance, you want to do amala or you want to grind your wheat. Grind the one you can eat for that moment with it, not to grind so much and distribute, no, or keep for the next, no. It is for momental use, not to do so much and keep. That is why it is home meal. That is why it is called home meal. So please take note, do not leave it unattended to. Also, do not use it more than 30 minutes. And thirdly, do not crowd it with so much. It is for grains. Be pouring it little by little by little until you finish. That is how to use this. Thank you. Now this cover is the key. Very important. Nothing must happen to this cover. If it breaks, that is the end. The whole engine is useless. So please always, and this cover is what gives it functionality. This is what makes it function. This is the key and everything. So now when you lock it in place ready to use, this stuff here is the key. Carefully press it down and then turn it around. Please take note, press it down, turn it around until you get to this part. It will stop. This is the last bus stop. If you want to take it to this edge, press it down, carefully twist it round. This is like the key adjustment knob until you get to this side as well, and then you stop. That is how this works. So this stuff here is an adjustment knob. Very important. Please take note, do not force it to work at a time. Always leave it, give it time, so it doesn't break down, please. Very important. And do not force it by force. No, just take your time, hold it and press it down. It would easily move. That is how this works. Now, say for instance, I want to make wheat. My wheat is like rice. You are to blend this thing like 3 times or 2 times. For me, I blended the one I used in the video 3 times. This is what I did first. I took this knob to this place or to this place, second to the last. I then pour my wheat in, allow it to break down the wheat into smaller particles. After the first blending, I then return it to this very knob here. If you look at it, this is for if you don't want your stuff to be so smooth, these are for how rough it will be. Then when it comes to this side, is for the finest blending. So if you want it to be totally smooth to powder, from here to here, I would advise you use that. Excuse me, please. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this last knob. These are what blends whatever you want at a go smoothly. Also take note, if you are blending and then you blend it to the smoothest at first, it will weaken the engine and it will stop working at a time until the next day. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't peak quickly until the engine is extremely cold. So when you are using this, if you notice that the engine is very hot, please leave it and let it cool off, or use the other engine head. That is how you would get a better result. So like I was saying, from here to this last edge gives you a very fine powder form of whatever thing you are blending from this home mill. And then from here gives you a roughly crushed stuff. So always use from here to crush whatever it is. And then the second phase, bring it here, bring it to this edge here, control it here, grind it the second time. And then if it's not smooth enough for you, you can then bring it to this place or to this place. Mind you, if you are blending so much and it is not rolling out from the stuff well, it then means that if you put it to this last edge, it will not work. You will see that the thing will be rolling, but it's not bringing powder. It means that this edge is too tiny or is too smooth for things to smoothen any further. Rather, you can bring it to this edge here, or this edge here, or this edge here at most. Most times when I bring my wheat or any other grains I try to blend to this place, it doesn't rush out for me properly because it is too smooth and this thing cannot control it anymore. So what I do is I just leave it on this dot or on this dot and it will flow out well. And this stuff doesn't flow out all the time, rather whatever you are blending gets smoothing into the drum. So when you finish, you can then remove it and pour them out from the drum into whatever thing you are using to collect it. That is how this very particular stuff works. So I'll go over this again. This stuff, if you want to use it, say you want to blend rice now, always set it to the desired place first. Set it to this place first, and then it starts working. If it's not coming on, or it's coming on but the stone is not rotating, just leave it to cool off. When it cools off by itself, when you on it again, it would come on, but do not force it. It means that it has overworked itself or you are not doing something right. Leave it to cool off. And sometimes when you bring it on and you have not used it for so long and you see that the stone is not rolling but the engine is working, just carefully take this stuff to the last phase here like this. Whilst the engine is on, carefully hold it and also take it to this place. Sometimes before you get here, it would peak, and if it doesn't peak, don't worry, don't panic about it. Just do it again like 2 or 3 times back and forth. It would peak, And if it still doesn't pick, it means the engine is tired or something is wrong with it for that moment. Leave it, come back to it again, it will start working. I don't know, the importer brought it with the 2 extra head, so that was how I got it. And if this one is not functioning well, leave it to cool off, or you overuse this, leave it to cool off and try the other head. That is my best advice as well. Thank you so much.